leadership development courses that are now offered virtually. And then just, again, you can see more of what's going on and just really foster those strategic connections that you're making. Again, you can see more of what's going on and really foster those strategic connections. This is a bit, it's similar to just our virtual Inforum, but this is the on-demand content that we're offering. Again, it's those insights, it's those podcasts. We offer recordings after the different events, so if you weren't able to attend, you can go back and look at that. And then again, the research that we offer from our Women's Leadership Report. So these are our industry groups that we currently have. We have our manufacturing next, technology next, healthcare next, automotive next, and finance next. And really, these are groups led by volunteers, and they focus on those specific industries. But what I like about the industry groups is you don't have to be in that industry to attend one of their events. Like I said, the Finance Next one, there were individuals that weren't necessarily in the finance field, and you come away with really, really great stuff. So there's always events, just being put out on our calendar of events on our website. And so again, whether you're in the field or not, there could be really, really relevant topics that you could benefit from. And then this is the list of all of the affinity groups. I don't know why, but whenever I mention the affinity groups to people, I always start with the women who like wine. And I've been seeing it the wrong. Oh, well, we have a couple actually. We've got Wine Lovers Southeast, Wine Lovers West Michigan, Words and Wine, but there are so many other ones. I mean, I know, Cheryl, you were saying you've been signing up for different ones and checking them out. There's just a ton of them, and there are some that are meeting in person already, and then some that are still virtual. And then now I'm going to go into the leadership development programs. What I really like about this slide is this just shows the innovation over the last 20 years. Our first leadership development program was executive leadership, and it was first delivered in 2002. So it's crazy to think, it's 20 years from now and how much it's changed and grown, and some of it stayed the same. And this is just the impact all of the leadership programs that we've had have made. Our programs target different career inflection points. So we have something for early career, emerging leaders, leaders of leaders, managers of others, something for everyone at every stage. And most of our programs are tailored for women, but we do have some of the programs that are open to men as well, or individuals of all genders. What started out pre-pandemic, all of our programs were delivered in person, and that was one of the really big things that was hard for people when we first switched over. Is they were like, no, I'm going to wait for in person because I don't want to learn virtually, or I really want to make those connections. And so we had to get creative about the virtual offerings to where people wanted to attend, and they still felt that they were connecting with others, and that's been going pretty successful. But now we're in a new phase where people are realizing I don't have a lot of time, to sit in a 4-hour Zoom session, nor do I really want to. So we just invested in a learning management system, which is Lessonly. And so now our programs take on this blended approach where there's self-directed learning that individuals can do through the learning management system. Then we come together for either some live instructor-led virtual sessions or a combination of in-person sessions with virtual sessions sprinkled throughout. And then we try to space them out at least 3 to 4 weeks apart, the sessions, to give time to do that self-directed learning and to let everything sink in. So this is the list of programs, and this is just a graphic that shows what I was saying before, how they span across the different inflection points in the career. Some of these, like for example, our EQ Essentials, we have it at the individual contributor level, but really that's just a basic level of what emotional intelligence is and why it's important and how you can develop it. And that actually is a program that could be good for anyone at any stage in the career, as long as there's that understanding that it's pretty basic. We're not going to really get as in depth into it as we do in executive leadership, which is really focused on emotional intelligence. But these are all of the programs. I'm going to pause here and see, are there any questions instead of me going through each one of these? If there's something that jumps out at any of you that you'd like to specifically know a little bit more about.
Lorrena, this is Brenda. I have a question. I was in the executive leadership program, amazing, amazing program. And this was back in my corporate days when I was kind of trying to move up, to the next level up. I know there are different leadership programs. And are these kind of based on the needs you have within your career? Or, how do we decide if we're looking at leadership programs, which one is the best fit for us?
Yeah, I think it's, I would say a little bit of both, your needs and then where you are. So for example, next up is typically it is geared towards women within the first 6 years of their career. So those emerging leaders. However, we have had companies send individuals that they've been in their career maybe 20 years already, but maybe they're new to a field or they're new to a position, but they still want to learn about, how do I lead from my strengths, or how do I tackle, career derailers? How do I take my values and make sure they're aligned with my organization's values? So there are people that go there. And then our genuine leadership presence, we've had people go to executive leadership, which is, again, focuses on emotional intelligence. Where am I, or where do I think I am? And then it comes with the 360 assessment, so you get an idea of where everybody else sees you. But there are people that have gone through that course but still wanted to go back to genuine leadership presence because they wanted to focus more on leading from a place of authenticity. So it's really, again, both, Brenda.
Thank you.
Long answer to say both.
Yeah, and I'm curious if anyone in the call here today, if you've been involved with any of these leadership programs, like maybe put it into chat too, because sometimes I feel like, when Lorrena or an employee of Inforum tells you about the program, it's different than somebody actually having gone through it. And I've always highly recommended executive leadership. But if anyone's attended any of the learning labs or board access, there's a lot of that I've attended and looking at this list. But thank you, Lorrena, for answering that.
No, of course. And our executive leadership, we're kicking it off in May, and the first time we'll be doing this blended approach where we have the self-directed, and then we'll have 3 in-person sessions with 2 virtual sessions sprinkled in. And so I'm really excited to see, what comes out of that. It'll be really cool to see. But I know I'm biased, but I think these are great programs. And I did have a woman tell me after going to executive leadership that it was life-changing. She said those words. So just great programs. We have great facilitators that come in and teach these programs or facilitate, as well as most of them come with some form of coaching as well. This next sheet is just, it's a whole bunch of words, so I'm not expecting anybody to look at this, but this breaks down the programs just a little bit more with who they're targeted for, what you can expect to get out of the program. One of the big things that we've been doing since the pandemic is the custom programs. A lot of companies have come forward and just asking for custom versions of the programs, and we always try to support that in the way that we can. We've done things from moderating conversations with different courageous, safe conversations to creating train the trainer training to just doing our typical, next up or GLP just for the individual companies. So I can make sure that everybody gets a copy of this slide because I don't want you to try to read it here because it's very small and it's a lot of words, I understand. So I always jump the gun with this one, but this just talks about the custom learning experience I talked about. I had somebody reach out recently that they don't have, again, it's a time issue. They don't have the time to attend our executive leadership presence, but they really do want some training or coaching around emotional intelligence. So we're able to, administer the emotional intelligence social and competency inventory to them. and then do some coaching around that. So we can always customize things for individuals and for companies. And then we're always enrolling. For these programs, we are now enrolling for our upcoming in the fall offerings of those. And this is just a breakdown of a couple of the individual programs. Like, this is our Next Up program, and this is the new format that I was talking about with we have 3 virtual instructor-led sessions, self-directed learnings, and then 2 group coaching sessions. Executive leadership, I mentioned this one already, but that's self-directed along with those 2 virtual sessions, and then our 3 in-person sessions. And genuine leadership, we have this one kicked off as well. We are offering a Southeast version, or a Southeast cohort or flight that is all virtual, and then we currently have a West Michigan flight that's this blended approach, which is the self-directed plus the 3 virtual and the 2 in-person sessions. And our EQ Essentials, this one is getting ready to actually kick off in May, so we're still taking applications for this, and this has just 2 virtual sessions, 2 2-hour sessions along with the self-directed lessons. And this is really just a base level of what's emotional intelligence, what are the competencies, how can I develop them. And so that's it for the slides. I just want to now stop and just answer any questions that you have that I can.
Thank you, Lorrena. And by the way, I did get the live stream working. There may be a slight little delay on it, but I did get it pushed out to the Inforum LinkedIn page. If it's okay with all of you, I'll keep the presentation open while we go through Q&A. If you'd prefer not to speak because you don't want your question to be announced, just put your question in chat, and then I can help Lorrena with that. I did see one question that came into chat already for you, Lorrena. I think, Stella, do you want to ask this? You were asking if the event recordings, are you referring to the programs that Lorrena was referring to, or the, okay.
Yes, I was talking about the ones that she said when the events are recorded and then they're put out. And I was wondering if, for example, I'm thinking particularly of the environmental program, I was not available to attend. I had a major conflict and I wanted to. Is that recording available for me to see now, or since I didn't register for the event, am I unable to see that recording?
Stella, that's a great question that I'm not 100% sure about, and I don't want to give you wrong information. So I will check, and I will circle back to you and let you know, because I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
Lorrena, could you go back to that slide again with all the detail about all the different leadership programs? I feel like I know you said you'll send it to us, but I was kind of reading through and I had a couple of questions, and sometimes I like to, go ahead.
The busy one, right?
Yeah, well, the one with all the different descriptions of the programs, because some are like the Learning Lab is kind of like a one-off workshop, versus executive leadership. I remember it was almost like it was a couple months commitment, going into the program. So could you describe, board access, is that a workshop? Is it a day? Is it a program? Could you maybe go through if you're aware of like how long are these programs? Are they all individual?
Yes. So board access is actually a coaching program. And so it spans over some time where we match an individual with a coach that has experience with serving on and getting a seat on corporate boards. So that program there, we have previously done workshops for, but that's just the board access program itself is the coaching. And then if you'd like, Brenda, I can just go through each of these.
Yeah, why don't you? Because we've got some time. I think that'd be great. And if unless anyone else has questions, just keep going and I'll watch the chat for us.
Okay, great. So Ascending to the C-Suite is our program that we partner with Michigan Ross School of Business. And that is a in-person 4-day program that is held at the Inn at St. John's, and it targets women that are ready to ascend into that next level, into the C-suite. And the sections are taught by faculty members from Ross as well as senior executives that come in and speak. It is just another one of the just really great and impactful programs. This program is currently, it's targeted to women, but we also accept all genders. The next are, I explained custom programming already. Our EDIT program is Encountering Diversity with Inclusive Thinking, and that is a program that is focused on how do you deal with individuals that are different from you. And that could be racial differences, socioeconomic differences, gender, sexual orientation, any differences. And it starts with an IDI assessment, and it really just, there's this continuum, where you could fall on it. And it's another one of those where you think you're over here, but you might really be here. And it's a good way to see that about yourself. And it comes with coaching as well to debrief that assessment, as well as to help you come up with an action plan to move you along if that's what you desire. Next is our EQ Essentials program, which I explained is just that entry into what emotional intelligence is, why it's important, and how to develop it. And that's let me back up. So our EDIT is 3 3-hour workshops. And they're usually spaced about 2 weeks. Maybe it'll go as long as 3 weeks. EQ Essentials, we have those spaced 4 weeks apart. Our executive leadership, which we talked about, that spans over about 7 months, because we do try to have the spacing in between. Genuine leadership presence is the same. It's 3 to 4 weeks in between each sessions. There were the 5 sessions total for that one. And genuine leadership presence, again, I'll just go into it. It really focuses on how do you lead from authenticity, and what does that look like for you, and then how much are you willing to flex from a point of where you are, what your values are in regards to your work environment. And then how do you also what is charisma, what are charismatic leadership tactics, how do you influence. That's what that program focuses on, as well as like tapping into your power as a woman. Leading with Equity is a program that we partner with GVSU, and that's really, again, on just how do you mitigate bias, and talking about like systemic bias and all of that, and really getting deep into that. That one comes with an assessment as well. And there's coaching around debriefing that. And then, like Brenda mentioned, our learning labs are one-offs. We hold them once a month. They're 90-minute sessions that run from 8 a.m. to 9:30, and it's on a number of different topics based on what our volunteers are passionate about or their area of expertise. Next, for vets, I'm personally very proud and excited of this program, because it's a program for female veterans, and it's really taking a lot of the curriculum that's in our genuine leadership presence and putting it together with, how do you take what the skills and experiences that female veterans had in the military and use that in the private sector. Next up is our program typically for emerging leaders, and it comes with a Strength Finders assessment. And we talk a lot about, how do you lead from a place of strength? What are typical career derailers? How do you assess your values? What are your values, and how do you make sure they align with your organization's values? How do you get ahead? We bring in a speaker to talk to the individuals about getting ahead. Next Level Leadership was a program that we created, again, with Michigan Ross, and it was designed to be that kind of a glimpse into the C-suite program. And that one was a virtual program. I'm not sure when we're going to be offering that one again. Our professional coaching, all of our genuine leadership presence, our executive leadership, Next for Vets, all come with individual one-on-one coaching, and then our next up comes with group coaching. But in addition to those coaching opportunities, we have just standalone professional coaching where we match individuals with a professional coach. We send them about three to choose from, possibly more if there aren't matches, and then they let us know, yes, I want to work with so-and-so, and then we set that up and get that going. Our Workforce Ready is a workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop that we created, again, trying to focus on the individuals coming straight out of college who maybe don't know what an elevator pitch is or why it's important, talking about imposter syndrome, talking about the importance of networking, really just those early skills that you might not be thinking about right as you're entering the workforce. And then just with our other workshops, we again are just one-offs that are 2 to 2.5 hours, and we've done workshops on networking, workshops on diversity, equity, and inclusion, harnessing your power. We have shorter emotional intelligence workshops. So those are, again, just a one and done.
Awesome.
Any
And
questions?
Lorrena, I see Lisa has a question for us. Lisa, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Lorrena, first of all, this has been an amazing presentation, and I think I'm so glad it's being recorded, because I don't know if I'm a typical Inforum member, but geez, there's so much more here than I ever really realized. So thank you for sharing this. My question is this: as a coach who would love to support women, how would I reach out to Inforum and volunteer potentially to support one or more of these programs as a coach?
You would just get with me, Lisa, and we'd have a conversation and take it from there.
Terrific. Okay, I will reach out. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
On a related note, go ahead.
No, and we are always looking for, especially learning lab facilitators, because we would like to hold a learning lab at least monthly. And so, if you know anyone, if you yourself are interested, I'm always looking for the facilitators for the labs.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
On a related note with that, Lorrena, I know there is a Inforums, I don't know if it's called a speakers bureau, or there's a way that we as members can submit our information to be featured as speakers. I'm looking on the website right now, and I'm really bad at knowing, is it public or is it behind a member login that we can see that information? Do you know?
I 90% that it's behind the
login. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
yeah, that's my understanding too, Brenda, that it's in the member only area, so it's not available for public view. If a individual just jumps to the Inforum page, they're not going to see the Speakers Bureau.
Got it. But it is a benefit of membership, and I think that's one of the good reasons it's good that it's behind the login, so that we are, this is one of the benefits of being a member, that we're getting that additional visibility. If I can find it, I'll put the link in the chat for folks. But
and I can try to help with that too, Brenda.
Thank you. Oh, I found it. I'm gonna do a quick screen share if you don't mind. I'm gonna take yours off of screen, and it's behind. I am logged in on here, so I'm gonna let's see here. Is it showing right now? Are you guys seeing this? Inforum Speakers Bureau? Not yet. Okay.
I'm still seeing mine. I can stop share.
Could you stop share? Because I think it's fighting with my screen now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, screen 1. Okay, are you seeing it now?
It looks like it's trying to. There we go.
Is it coming up? Okay. So I did log in, and then I was able to get into the Speakers Bureau here. So Lisa, are you listed in here?
I am.
There you go. Let's see if we can find her. Are these alphabetical? Is that how they are? It looks like
it looks like it.
Okay, it took me a minute to get my my ABCs in my head because of my coffee. There you are. Awesome. It's always a good thing to review if you are in the Speakers Bureau as well, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, it's a headshot photo that I have taken, but I have a newer one, so I need to submit that one in there. But this is really great, and it looks like, Lisa, you talk about self-care, stress management. Lisa, we might be tapping into you for a future speaker for the Troy group here, I think.
Oh, I'd love that. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Sure.
Brenda, I have to say, I did sit in on the Women of Wellness Affinity group yesterday, and Lisa was speaking, and it was good. It was very informative, and she did a great job. So
awesome.
My clap for Lisa.
And
thank you so much, Lorrena. I appreciate that. Thank you.
On a related note to that, there was a question that came in, and Lorrena, I'm putting you on the spot here if you're not sure. But Cheryl was asking if there was a specific affinity group. It was called the Business of Networking. It was, I think it's coming up, but she can't attend. She has a conflict. Is there a way to get the recording, the playback? Do you know how the affinity groups are doing? I'm guessing they're all kind of doing things differently, right?
They are, and so it's individual. Like, I know, Brenda, you always record yours. I don't know that every other affinity group does. So it's really up to those co-chairs on whether or not it's recorded. So I'm not sure if they will, but that is a question. It might even have in the information who the co-leaders are, and maybe it's just a simple reaching out to them to see if they record it.
There you go. And I'm going to pull this event up that Cheryl, I think that you were asking about, and I'll drop it into the chat right now for those that are wondering about this specific event.
And this looks like it's an in-person. I could be reading it wrong, but
oh, it does, because it has a location in here, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it is in person, and it's in Grand Rapids, and I have a conflict.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe reach out to Jennifer and see if she's presenting it elsewhere, or there might be a networking or connection opportunity there too. Very good. All right.
And most of the affinity groups have a a cycle of meetings. So they'll meet either once a month or quarterly or however. So I'm sure they'll be meeting again, not with this specific presenter, but they'll have opportunities to connect.
Okay, and this is a public link that I'm on right now. I'm going to drop it into the Zoom chat for those that are watching. And in the playback, I'll put the links into the comments as well in case folks are interested in the links that we're looking at right now. I think there was one more question on here. I'm just scrolling up through chat to see if I can find it. If you do have a question, you can speak up, or you can raise your hand and wave, or use the little Zoom button to wave your hand. I want to make sure I'm getting everyone.
One thing while you're looking for the question, but I'll say just thinking about things that are membership benefits. That's one of the things that the app offers. I know I mentioned that earlier, but that is a benefit for members as well. And I don't know if you all use that yet for the affinity group. There are opportunities where the affinity groups can use the different community pages to share with each other in between meetings.
It would be really great, Lorrena, because I think we're all newer to using the app. I'm not sure who on the Inforum team is the best, well-versed on explaining the app and how to navigate it and how to use it, but that might be a great future topic as well.
Yeah, I would say Anna Grace or Kristen Mercer are both.
Okay. Anna and Krista, we're coming for you. We might be tapping into your. This is what we do. We voluntold people into coming into our speakers.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I'm going to stop the recording, and then we'll continue to do the conversation. But let me just stop the recording just for a moment here.
Recording stop.
And let me stop the live stream as well, so that we're not live streaming anymore. And then we'll continue the conversation here. Thank you all for watching for the live streamers.